Hello, everybody, and welcome to another segment of Market Masters with myself and Dr. Kirk Elliott. Today, we're going to be discussing four different topics, four very important topics. The first one being the impact of tariffs on gold and silver and the economy as a whole. A very important note having to do with the date February 20th, which is just tomorrow, after you guys watch this from when it's posted, from a refinery in Switzerland regarding big news about adding more value to gold and silver when it comes to their price. We're going to add some more information from the last segment regarding Trump monetizing the assets on the US balance sheet like gold and silver. And the big question is, will we have a gold-backed currency? So let's start with tariffs. We'll go into that important note. Dr. Kirk Elliott, thank you very much for being here today.
Oh, it's so great to be with you. The tariffs. So Trump in his campaign was promising he's going to put tariffs on foreign goods, go back to what the founding fathers envisioned for America, which was have other countries have that be their price of admission to sell to the wealthy US consumers,
Yes.
rather than us paying income taxes, right? That didn't happen until 1913. Prior to that, it was just tariffs. So he made the announcement, which we covered, I think, on the last show,
Yes.
about Canada and Mexico slapping a 25% tariff on them starting on March 1st.
But doesn't that just increase our prices because it's passed off to us anyways?
Yes, if we keep buying from Mexico and Canada. See, this is
Ah,
this is the point that Trump wants to do. In making America great again, he wants to bring manufacturing back to the United States. If foreign goods are really expensive, then people are going to start substituting what they buy and buying American.
I
And if they
understand.
buy American, jobs always follow manufacturing. So that's the goal, right? Is to just bring jobs back and to actually penalize, so to speak, these other countries that have been taking advantage of us for so long. So here's where it wasn't the last show that we did. The one before, we were talking about what kind of retaliatory measures could China take
Okay.
if we did this, because Trump was promising this during his campaign. Well, they could dump their U.S. treasuries that they own. They have like $1 trillion worth of them. But the more I thought about that, is that would shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Because if they start dumping them, the price would come down. They still have $1 trillion. They actually kill their own asset. So I thought, well, maybe they could dismantle the US dollar by, doing what they did with the artificial intelligence, chips. And it's like, how about you destroy the stock market? How about you erode confidence in Americans, view of their politicians, in their banks, in their stock market? They did that, but I think the more what they're also trying to do, which Trump actually is going to beat them on, is the tariffs thing, because they could say, well, we're going to slap retaliatory tariffs on you, America.
Gotcha.
Like but my answer to that would be, so what? Right?
Yep.
It's like, how many Chinese buy American goods? Probably very few. How many Americans buy Chinese goods? Like almost everybody, right? So if they put a tariff on American goods, well, then it really wouldn't be that big of a deal. It wouldn't have a lot of teeth to it. However, what Trump did is he recognized that, and he inoculated us from any country, not just China, doing something like that with reciprocal tariffs. So a reciprocal tariff means
Yeah.
if Brazil would slap a 20% tariff on American goods, then Trump said, fine, do it. I'm just going to put a 20% tariff on all of your junk, right? It's like,
Gotcha.
oh,
So it stops them in their tracks.
it stops them in their tracks. Well, a lot of countries will do something where, to avoid tariffs, they just slap a high premium value added tax. Like, I ordered something from Amazon, I don't know, it was a couple months ago, and it came from China. I think it was like a laptop cover, something like that. And it got stuck in customs because they didn't pay the value added tax. I had to do it. So a $29 stupid laptop cover cost me another $17 in value added tax.
Wow.
So here's where they get away from the tariffs by putting a value added
That's
tax
like
on goods.
60%.
It was massive. So here's where Trump said, I'm adding value added tax to the reciprocal tariffs. So that, like, for example, we're precious metals broker. Everybody knows that who watches this show. We don't ship stuff to Canada or anywhere for that matter, because when it crosses the border, you have to pay the value added tax, which I think going in that direction is like 25% or something stupid, right? So if, and that would be because it's coming from America going to another country. So they
Yeah.
could say, the European Union could say, well, we're going to put 75% value added tax on. That's not a tariff. Well, Trump said he's going to replicate whatever the value added tax amount is in a backwards tariff to them. So if somebody were to
Wow.
say, we're going to put a 75% value added tax or a tariff, Trump would just say, well, we're just going to mimic it and we'll do it right back at you. So there's no way that you can win. And for
Interesting.
us, our balance of trade is so off. We import way more than we export, that all of these things only hurt the other countries. Having tariffs put on American goods really doesn't hurt us all that much.
So
Um,
when it comes to buying any products or let's say metals in this case like gold and silver, are tariffs added onto that as well?
yes, depends on where the source of the metals come from.
Well,
So
what is the greatest source right now in terms of selling metals? Which country?
Mexico.
Okay, so let's say Mexico was to add a tariff of 25% on gold and silver. What happens?
Well, I'm doing thinking of this in reverse. So we don't actually ship a lot of metals elsewhere. However, we get 80% of all the silver that comes into America into our refineries to make silver bars, silver coins, silver eagles, whatever, comes from Mexico.
Okay.
So when Trump slapped a 25% tariff on Mexico starting March 1st, pretty much all 80% of all the silver coming in to make bars and coins is going to be 25% more because there's no
Wow.
exclusions on that tariff. So here's where I know, because there's such a backlog, refineries are 3 months backlogged right now. They
Okay.
don't have a lot of inventory to just sell before tariff impacted prices hit. No, there's a backlog. They don't have inventory. So it would be almost immediate effect. So that's a big deal for silver.
And that also is the March 1st date that we spoke about when all of the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be February 1st, and then Mexico complied with Trump's demands that they're going to put 10,000 troops on the northern Mexico border to stop the fentanyl trade.
Okay.
Canada complied because that was supposed to be February 1st too, and put 10,000 Canadian troops on their southern border to stop all the trafficking. So, but Trump said it's going to start March 1st because you still have a lot to do, right? So tariffs are coming. It's Trump's mechanism to have other countries pay for our stuff, which is genius. It's absolutely genius. Now, I got a letter 3 days ago from a refinery in Switzerland. Can't name the name. Took the logo off, took everything off,
So
but
this is the February 20th date that we're talking.
this is February 20th date,
Okay.
which is 2 days from now, tomorrow. I don't know when I don't even know what day it is, but it's February 20th. It's like right here. So
Okay.
so in light of the current economic climate, we are witnessing unprecedented challenges, persistent inflation, geopolitical uncertainties, and exponentially high interest rates up to 10 times above historical norms. Everything that we've been talking about, actually, they're reflecting in this, right? In this letter.
Okay.
So they're significantly impacting market conditions. Additionally, the threat of new tariffs on key materials is adding further pressure to supply chains and cost structures across the industry. These factors are driving up costs across precious metals sector, blah, blah, blah. Goes on for another paragraph or so. Then they get to the meat of it. We're going to raise our prices, right? So on gold, any minted product in gold, they're going to add $3.50 an ounce to. Not a huge difference when gold is $3,000 an ounce. It's a small premium. But silver, which is why we've been allocating into silver for so long, the supply chain disruptions, the low supply, the high demand, it's off the charts, right? So they're going to add $3 an ounce premium to
Which
silver.
is like 10%.
It's like 10 silver's $32. That's almost 10%.
So you're telling me that on February 20th, this refinery in Switzerland is going to be, is it a refinery?
It's a refinery. Yeah. So they're the ones this was to their valued partners, which would be depositories that are selling gold and silver here in America. So
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 they're going to be selling silver at 10% higher than it is right now,
starting on
starting
February
February
20th.
20th to the depositories.
Yep. Now, this is just one refinery in the world, but it's like the largest one that I know of. And I think as very, very quickly, these market dynamics that they were addressing in this letter impact all refineries. So I think it's this is just I was talking to the president of the depository, Texas Precious Metals Depository that we use, and he said, Kirk, this is going to impact pretty much everything. It's not just going to end with this one refinery, right? It's going to go
Yeah,
widespread. So
100%.
we're about to see price increases, which is why we've been shouting from the rooftops for so long that we need to get into silver. We need to get into gold because at some point it will start to grow exponentially, right? And we're already seeing amazing growth, but we haven't seen anything yet, right? And these are the kind of things that really cause it to move rapidly.
It's crazy, man. So
Yeah.
how does all of this kind of tie into this gold-backed currency with current administration in the US at least using their balance sheet, monetizing it?
It
What's the process there?
So that really is unrelated to this,
Okay.
although it adds to the aggregate demand of everything we've been talking about. So over the last 2.5, 3 weeks, gold has been leaving London like London has the plague, right?
Yes.
And where has it been going? It's been going to New York, which we
Yes.
covered that story. It's in the depositories in New York, CME COMEX depositories. Now, at first, I believed the narrative that it was, these importers, these traders were getting it across the border to not have to pay Trump's tariffs as it comes across the border. Plausible thing until you started to realize other talking points. Last weekend, Secretary of Treasury Bessent and Trump were signing an executive order to start a sovereign wealth fund for America, right? So, like Middle Eastern countries have, most oil producing nations have a sovereign wealth fund. We just never have. So they have oil, right? Oil is nationally owned in United Arab Emirates, right? And so they can nationalize that.
Okay.
Well, we don't own the oil necessarily. Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, right? It's all private companies, but we have land. So what Trump just did is after he made this announcement, they opened up 625 million acres of wildlife area, or maybe it's up in the Arctic regions up by Alaska to actually open up drilling. So they're going to monetize the asset of the balance sheet, which is what Scott Bessent said. He said within 12 months at this signing of this executive order, we are going to monetize the assets of the US balance sheet. Monetize means to make money from the assets or whatever they have. So what do they have? We have land. Trump had mentioned that he wants to start up a strategic Bitcoin reserve to help back up the currency. So possibly they're going to use the phony baloney, worthless fiat currency dollars to buy cryptocurrency, right? Which could grow. I mean, if it grows like it has, well, that's a massive growth for America.
I think it could easily hit $1 million.
I mean, I think it could be insane. I think it could be wild. Now, we also have gold. We also have like 8,500 tons of gold. Um, so you could monetize that. How do you do it? If it's not here, we don't know if it's here or not. But I would say that it's not. This is why all the gold is leaving London, coming to New York. It's like Trump is bringing it home. He's basically bringing it home to roost, right? He's repositioning it from all these other vaults around the world. So we now own it and control it, and it's at home. Why would you need to do that? To potentially back up a gold-backed currency. Now, you can't use all of that unless you know that it's there. So 2 days ago, Elon Musk and Ron Paul, former Congressman Ron Paul,
Yep.
basically said they're going to audit Fort Knox,
Okay.
right? And so Ron Paul said, I have no doubt that that gold that supposedly be there is there. However, I don't think it's ours. So he thinks it's been
What,
rehypothecated. He thinks, we were selling or leasing our gold, letting other countries use it, and it's not here. It's not ours. So the reason I think that he's spot on, dead on accurate is because in 2012, um, Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany, told America, she said, "Hey, the gold that you're storing, under the Federal Reserve, we want it back. We want it at home." And the Fed said, "Too bad, so sad. You'll get it in 7 years." Like 7 years? Our
Why?
gold, you're having it for safekeeping because they didn't have it.
Wow.
It was rehypothecated. They were,
Are they
leasing
allowed
it
to
to
do
China,
that?
selling it to China, just like fractional reserve banking, Jason. They're using it to make extra money and hoping that not everybody comes back and wants delivery at the same
Are
time.
they allowed to do that?
Technically, yes, but what it does is, well, I don't know because I haven't seen the contract, but I would
Yeah.
assume that they can, or else I mean, they'd all be in the slammer. But the point is now that people are wanting to possibly back up currencies with gold and they're coming to get it and it's not there. You're going to have this massive short position that they can't cover. And you're going to have to scurry to get as much physical gold or much physical silver as you can. That's going to drive the price up. So the point here is it took them 7 years after I was doing some research yesterday.
Okay.
So this happened in 2012. By 2015, they had only gotten half of what they asked for. By 2017, they actually gave up on getting the rest. So I don't think they ever got it.
Wow.
I mean, this is mind-numbing to me that we would be the safeguarding safekeeper of some countries' metals, and it's not there, right? Which is why Elon Musk is so bent out of shape, saying we're going to audit the Fort Knox. Because if we're going to need this to possibly monetize our assets, I'm just putting two and two together, then we better make sure that it's there and that we have what we think that we have. Right. So this is why there's all these cargo planes coming from all over the world, bringing gold and silver back to America. It's going in the vaults. And so here's where, at the end, what is the end game of all this? It's like, well, you don't have to be a hedge fund or a big, huge bank and invest billions of dollars to take advantage of this. You can invest in 1 ounce of gold at a time. You
100%.
can you can invest in silver and $500, minimum. That's our minimum. Some companies have $50,000 minimums. Ours is $500. And you can do the same thing that they're doing, just with the amount of money that you have. Right. So this is where never, and I would say never, um, kind of invest into currencies because there's too much risk. There's political risk, there's exchange rate risk. Countries can go out of favor with each other in a drop of a hat. But if you allocate into what they want to back their currency with, that's the common thread that goes through everything. It's like that's your foundation, that's your stability. You're not investing in the currency. Like if it's a gold-backed dollar, you're not investing in the dollar, you're investing in the gold that
Yes.
backs it. Because you know what? Gold also is going to back the BRICS currency. Gold also is going to back up other currencies. The currencies could come and go,
But
but the backing of it still remains.
if we go to a gold-backed currency, what does that mean for the price of gold? Because it's going to have to increase dramatically to be able to
Oh,
cover all of that.
it would have to go up dramatically. And
I mean,
so,
what numbers are we talking?
well, if you go to usdebtclock.org, with the amount of M3 money supply that's in circulation compared to the number of ounces of gold that are mined and available,
Yeah.
it would put gold at over $12,000 an ounce. It's 3,000, so that's a factor of four. But that doesn't actually consider all of the money that's been printed. That's just money, M3 money supply in circulation. It doesn't account for money that's off the books, been printed, like stimulus money that goes to Ukraine and whatever else. I mean, that never hits money in circulation. We don't know how big that number is, which is why maybe to back up all the dollars that are out there floating around or stimulus money or being lent to other countries that never actually see the light of day, euro dollars, um, maybe it's 30, 40, 50,000 an ounce. I have no idea, right? But now silver is so underwater with no supply, high demand that you look at its number and based on the money supply, it should be $1,510 an ounce.
So,
It's
so
32.
yeah, that's insane. But now, if we did go to gold-backed currency, what happens to silver?
Oh, it will exponentially rise as well. They tend to go together, right? But as we go to a gold-backed currency, there's going to be a lot of money coming in, capital flows into the US dollar because it's going to have tangible backing.
Yeah,
Right? As that happens, we're going to have money to grow. We're going to have money to expand. The tariffs on the rest of the world are going to put the rest of the world into an inflationary spiral. Like if Trump matches value-added taxes, most of the world has socialist governments. They use those value-added taxes to pay for their welfare state and their entitlements because if you're not the world's reserve currency, you can't just print willy-nilly without creating tons of inflation. They don't want to do that, but they might have to, right? So they live on these taxes. If they don't get them because they want to sell goods to America and they want to avoid Trump's tariffs, well, then they're going to be forced to print their way out of it, just like we had to over the last 4 years under
yeah,
Biden,
yeah.
right? So that'll create inflation. Gold and silver will go up because of that. As Trump grows the economy, and the demand for electronics and solar power and electric vehicles and manufacturing purposes, that's all going to go up. Silver goes up a lot. Gold goes up a lot because the currency in the economy can't expand unless there's more gold, unless the gold amount is static and they just keep raising the price.
I got you.
The
I got you.
gold coming out of the ground doesn't come out as fast as they need money for a growing economy.
Yes.
So therefore, I view the stockpile of gold as pretty static. I mean, it goes up a little bit, but not like the money supply. So therefore, I was looking at an article yesterday. It's like, okay, even at $3,000 an ounce, okay, that would put gold, in Fort Knox like $37 trillion, all the estimated whatever they have. Um, Now, what's to say though that they're not just going to say, well, gold is going to be valued at $5,000 an ounce or $10,000 an ounce? Or if the economy grows robustly, it could just float up higher and higher and higher and higher.
Insane.
So, I mean, so we don't know. We
Well,
don't
right,
know.
right now, gold's around 29.30 all-time high.
Correct.
Silver's over $33 as we speak, and it seems like over the next, few days, even with this February 20th deadline, it's probably going to continue going up. So
Mhm.
where can people reach out to you? What steps can they take? What actions can they take if they want to be a part of this now?
Go to the link that you have on your website. That'll get to my scheduling team, and you can call us and ask questions, and we can help you safeguard your assets, your IRAs, your cash in your bank, whatever, with physical, tangible gold and silver.
Yes.
Or you can simply call us. It's 720-605-3900 and just say Jason sent you.
Awesome.
And that's it. I mean, we're
And
here to bend over backwards to help.
IRAs, 401ks, people that have less money. Can you talk on that front for anybody who feels that they may not have enough to move forward?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't have a lot of money right now, just floating around. People have been living at the margin for so long, paycheck to paycheck, because Biden's economy stunk bad, right? So, but people oftentimes have money in their retirement plans that they didn't think that they could access. If it's an IRA, we can just roll it over into an IRA denominated into physical metals. That's probably 70% of our business is that. If
Gotcha.
you have an old 401k from a previous company, that rolls into a traditional IRA. See, you can't put gold or silver, physical gold or silver, in a current 401k because you don't own it. Your company owns it. You're a participant in it, right? But your IRA is individual. It's tied to you. So gold and silver in a retirement plan goes into an IRA. So what can go into an IRA? Old 403b, old 401k, old pension plan. They all roll into an IRA when you're done with them. If it's
Gotcha.
current, now I do have clients that can actually access their current 401k or 403b, but they have to be older than 59 and a half to do so.
I
And
understand.
then it's just called an in-service rollover.
It's easy. And
It's
that's what I
easy.
want
I
everybody
mean,
to
it's piece of
understand.
cake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we do
it's
this every
easy.
single day, hundreds of times. It's a piece of cake.
I love it. I love it. So for anybody that does Want to learn more, obviously, a lot of really good opportunities coming in the very, very near future and over the next few weeks and the next few months. So make sure to use the link in the description below this video. Fill out that form. You'll get in touch with Kirk and his team to schedule a call. It is free, nothing to lose, no strings attached. And like I always say, best case, you go in, you have a great opportunity ahead of you. Worst case, you find it's not for you. You learn something, you educate yourself, and you move on. But I do find that a lot of people in our community move forward because they see the opportunity of what's going on here. So make sure to use the link in the description below, fill out that form, and I want to hear from you in the comments below this video. If you've already worked with Kirk and his team, share your testimonials with their team below to get others to understand what it's all about and what their experience was. Kirk, you're amazing. Thank you for the information always. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I look forward to seeing what happens after the 20th.
It's my pleasure. We'll talk soon.
Alrighty, have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.